Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley. Welcome to Steelers Almighty. This is our All-22 breakdown of the offensive line of the Steelers' loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Look, it was ugly. It was ugly. The Steelers' offensive line got physically dominated. However, there were a few instances in here, and I'm going to point them out, that literally the Steelers were one block away from something working, or show you a couple of plays where it actually worked, where they got a little bit of momentum. And there were also, I'm going to show you some plays where it was just absolutely a nightmare. And that was what it was for the most part. The Steelers just did not have a good day at the offense against the Eagles as far as the trenches were concerned. The offensive line has to play better. I think they know that. But there were some bright spots, and we're going to point some of those out to you today. So, and without further ado, let's dive into this. So, first things first. First play, 1st and 10, Pittsburgh 32. The first play that we're showing you anyway, 12 personnel. Now, this is a toss play. Now, there's a lot of people out there that keep talking about tosses that we need to just get rid of it. Now, I'm sorry, people. We don't need to just get rid of toss plays. They work. And look here. This toss play is actually blocked. But our man Mason McCormick, he doesn't drive his feet. Look, he actually gets in position. When you stop it, Jalen Carter does him a favor and steps inside. McCormick's there. He's literally got position. But instead of running his feet, he doesn't run his feet at all, and he allows Jalen Carter to get back over top of him because he tries to position block. And that's a problem. This is a stretch play. This is a toss play. It's there. Broderick does a good job because he's stepping down to help with the double team. He doesn't even have to because, like I mentioned, Carter takes himself inside. McCormick's got the leverage, but he loses it because he doesn't run his feet, tries to position block and out-strengthen Jalen Carter, and that's just not going to work. He's way too good, way too athletic for that to work. But Broderick does a great job. He gets Nakobe Dean. Washington gets his guy. I mean, this play is blocked. But again, when you try to position block and don't move your feet against one of the best offense or defensive tackles in football, that's a problem. But let's not kid ourselves, people. This play is here. I know a lot of you hate it, but you got to learn to love it because it's there. Zach Frazier does a good job. Isaac and Dan Moore do a good job on the backside. If McCormick gets this, it's there. Because even look at the linebacker. Look at Bond. Darnell Washington has him. Jefferson gets the safety. I mean, that's a 7-8 yard gain. But one guy doesn't do his job. This is what happens. McCormick's got to be better there. Like I said, he's position blocking, especially when you have the leverage. Carter takes himself out of the play. You get there, and then you just stop your feet and you want to shuffle. You got to run. You got to run. You can't try to shuffle against a guy that's athletic. Run, keep active hands, but he doesn't do any of that. We've talked about McCormick's technique is just miserable, and it is, but this is why technique matters. I'm going to say that over and over again. This is why technique matters, because when you play against really good competition, when you don't have it, this is what happens to you. Unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Okay. Next play. This is 3rd and 10. Phillies 45. We're in 11 personnel here. My first thing here is, does Broderick even want to participate in this play as this is going on? Like, does he want to participate? He stands straight up and gets driven directly back into Russell Wilson's lap. I mean, come on, man. Come on. Look, Broderick had been making strides, but this is just horrific offensive tackle play. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The biggest Broderick fan can't defend this. He's standing straight up, doesn't punch. It doesn't even look like he wants to block the guy. I don't know. I get that the guy's low, but get low with him. Get a firm base. Hold your ground and punch. But instead, he leans over to block him, and the guy's got leverage on him going full speed, and he's lower, and he gets literally driven back into Russell Wilson's lap. Gets driven back into his lap. So McCormick here is so lucky that Zach Frazier is here. Look at McCormick. Unbelievable. I mean, come on. This is what I'm talking about when you have horrible technique. He goes lunging and reaching versus sitting down and pressing. You got to let the guys get to you. You can't go lunging at him. I mean, he looks like a high school kid out there. Look at that. That's horrible. Horrible. Then he does a spin move like a ballerina. Lord have mercy. This is bad by McCormick, man. And again, you can say, oh, well, he knew he had help. No, he doesn't, because if he knew he had help, he wouldn't be spinning around like a top out there. So don't come to the defense saying that. This is just bad technique, people. Lunging. He's so lucky. But he wasn't the only one that was bad on this. You just go across to our man Isaac. Isaac's fighting and does a pretty good job. Now, he gets driven back, and Isaac has a habit of dropping his outside leg, which isn't great, but at least he's there. He's in the way. But our man Dan Moore, come on, man. Come on, man. Dan Moore, again, just reaching out for the guy. Just reaching. And Dan Moore has a horrible habit, again, as a left tackle. It's almost like he gets lazy and says, okay, I'm going to drop my outside foot and try to push you around. Well, when you do that, you just basically give the pass rusher a short corner. And that's what he takes, because you have no punch. And when you have no punch, he just reaches out there. Well, when you reach out there, the guy has active hands, knocks him down. You drop your outside leg thinking you're just going to push him around. No, you don't. You're not going to push him around. All you did was create a short corner for me to run right around you, because you are giving me no resistance up top. And when there's no resistance and you give me a short corner, professional defensive ends are going to make a sack. Now, there's an argument that can be made that maybe Russ should have thrown the ball, and I'm not gonna be too mad, or I'm not gonna fight back if you say, hey, Russ has got to get rid of this football. But looking at this, I mean, really, there's pressure up the middle. He can't escape there. There's pressure on both tackles. Do you want him just throwing it up for grabs? Yeah, I'm not going to say that Russ should have got rid of this one. It's close. It's close, but there's really nowhere for him to go. I don't think this is one of those where Russ held on to the ball. I'm not going to fight you on it. If you want to die on that hill, okay. But the tackle play was pathetic here. It was pathetic. The offensive line got whipped on this rep. But like I said, Dan Moore, when you have weak hands, out of place, you give a short corner, you're going to get beat. Broderick Jones, please participate in plays. Stop getting driven into the backfield. Like, the guy just bull rushed you at your waist and drove you back into Russ's lap. That's just not acceptable. That is not acceptable at any level, but especially at this level in this kind of high-intensity game, man. It's not. All right, we're on to the next play here. Again, we got another toss play. And look, because they've taken away the inside, look at how Philly's aligned here. Philadelphia, and this is what a lot of teams are doing to the Pittsburgh Steelers now. Steelers obviously are better at running the ball inside. We want to run the ball in between the tackles. That's what we want to do. A lot of inside zone, a lot of counter traps, back power traps, stuff like that. Steelers are really good at that. Well, the teams have made the adjustment. They're saying, you're not going to be able to do that to us, because we're going to put three guys over your inside three guys. And you see them right there. You've got a guy over McCormick, Frazier, and kind of a four-eye kind of splitting the difference between Isaac and Dan Moore. So technically, they're covering up all three guys. And they also got five guys on the line of scrimmage. 7 guys in the box. Like I mentioned, we're in 12 personnel. That's the adjustment that teams have made to Pittsburgh when we go to either 12 or 13 personnel. We're going to put these guys over your 3 inside people, and we're going to make you run the ball outside. And again, I know a lot of you hate these toss plays, but you got to do it. You got to run outside. You either got to run a toss or outside zone when they're doing this. The teams are just not allowing you to run the ball inside. You know, they're professionals. So if they take it away, you have to do something. But here's, again, this play is blocked outstanding, except for Broderick Jones. Let's let it run here. Everybody is looking like Broderick. It's almost like he doesn't know what to do. He goes out there. He goes to the wrong linebacker initially. If he blocks Nakobe Dean, how many yards does this play get for Pittsburgh? It's just if Broderick blocks the right guy, because the assignment is the double team Jalen Carter or double team the 3 technique there, which I believe is Jalen Carter. It is. That's the assignment. Double him to the backside backer. You've got somebody coming down to block this front side linebacker. That's not you. Because if it's an outside zone, he ain't getting there anyway. He's got to know that. The play is blocked perfect. As you see, Darnell Washington goes outside. He gets his block. We got our man that does yeoman's work as far as blocking inside, Van Jefferson. He comes down. He pins the linebacker. We got an alley where Connor Hayward, goes out. He gets a support player on the front side. You stop this right before Jalen Warren goes to turn up. If Broderick blocks Nakobe Dean, this is a 15, 18-yard run here, people. 15 to 18 yards. But because he doesn't know his assignments, looking around, it's a 1-yard gain. It's that kind of stuff where, and I know what the argument is. Well, if they can't block it, you can't run it. You've got to run it. You're not expecting somebody not to be assignment sound. You know, it's one thing to, you know what, we physically can't do it. You can't get out there. These guys are just incapable of blocking this type of play. If that was the case, that's a different conversation altogether. But this is mental stuff. This is assignment sound football, just knowing who to block. Well, if you know who to block, and not to mention, people are going to bash Arthur Smith running too many toss plays. If Broderick Smith blocks the guy, this goes for 18 yards. Is anybody bashing Arthur Smith? The answer is no. That's why I always tell you guys, sometimes you got to look a little deeper. I'm not getting on you. I'm just saying the easy way out is to just blame Arthur Smith. Hey, he's terrible. The play calls are horrible. Well, was this a horrible play call? I mean, if you're being honest with yourself, is this a horrible play call? The answer is no. If one guy does his job, this is a minimum 15 to 18-yard gain. But because he doesn't, it's Arthur Smith's fault. And that's the next evolution, I guess. Not evolution, but what I try to get across to you guys sometimes. It's like, it's not always the offensive coordinator's fault. Trust me, when it is, you know I'm going to bash him. But when it's not, you just got to say that it's not. This is a good play call. This is a really good play call. Look at Mason McCormick. I just got on him for horrible technique. Look what he does to Jalen Carter here. He actually runs his feet, and he keeps moving. And he takes him 10 yards down the field and out of the play. That's what happens when you do it right. Look, Carter makes a step inside again. McCormick clubs him, but he doesn't stop here. He keeps going. He keeps going. He keeps engaged. Now, some people might say that outside arm he's holding. They're not going to call that, man. He's running him. He's running him up the field. Good job by McCormick there. Frazier's doing his job. Jordan Davis, this guy gets caught in the wash. Same with backside with Isaac and Dan Moore. You know, they're doing their job. Dan Moore really does a good job. His guy goes behind him. That's literally what you want him to do to that backside 4-eye technique. Cut him off and make him go behind you. So this is not a bad play call, people. This is a really good play call. It's a really good play call. Project's got to be assignment sound. All right, next one. 1st and 10 from the Philly 30, 13 personnel. This is another toss play. And it's 100% there. Before we get into it, it's 100% there. Pruitt kicks out his guy. He's solid. Washington is just a little fast on the double team. And because he's a little fast on the double team, Dan Moore doesn't get his guy. Now, Dan Moore got to be way more aggressive here. You got to be way more aggressive. But it starts because if you see Wash, his first step, it's outside. And I get it. It's a toss, but you're doubling to the middle backer. You can step towards that guy and help your tackle. Because again, who is that guy? I mean, these guys are good for. I mean, it's a backup, but those guys are good in Philadelphia, man. So if he steps towards him and gives him a little bit more help, but Dan Moore's got to be more aggressive. Got to get more violent here. Got to be more violent and physical. And also, if his guy wants to keep running, just push him past. But he gets driven in the backfield, and that's a problem. That's where the problem is. He doesn't have leverage. He's too high. He's just too high and gives up his leverage. But I think Washington can help him a little bit more here. But you see Isaac gets up. Zach Frazier gets on his guy. It's a 4-yard game, but I think it can be more. If Dan Moore gets that block and he gets a little bit more help, it can be more. So, again, this is a toss play that's 4 yards. You're telling me you're not taking 4 yards on first down? Come on. Come on now. Like I said, every time you see the toss, it's not a horrible play. And if we're saying, well, I don't want to run on first down, okay, I get that. But you're telling me you won't take first 4 yards? Of course you will. Of course you will. If you look at the line here, we're in 13 personnel. Look what the Eagles have done. They got 6 guys on the line of scrimmage. 6. And they are telling you are not going to run this ball inside. That's a lot of scout work because the Steelers, we know what they're going to do when we line up in 13 personnel. They're going to put a ton of guys at the line of scrimmage. And look at the middle. They still got they got 4 guys between Dan Moore, his outside shoulder, and inside Broderick. They're telling you you're not running the ball in here. You got a 2 and a 1, a 4-eye, and a 5 with 2 outside 9s and a middle backer. You're not running the ball inside is what Philadelphia is telling you. Steelers are like, great, we're not trying to run the ball inside. We're going to run it wide on you. And it's there. Guys got to block it. It's not a bad play call. Guys got to block it. And again, it's a 4-yard gain. But look at our man Freiermuth coming down. We talk about Freiermuth. Look at him come down and bust this safety. If he can get up in that gap, it's just missing. Just missing. Again, another good play called. And like I said, it's not executed perfect, but it's still 4 yards, people. I'll take it. Okay. Now we got 1st and 10 from the Philly 19. We're in 12 personnel. This one, I think, is bad vision by Jalen. I think he's got to stay front side with this. When Jalen gets the ball, and it's tough, don't get me wrong, but when he gets the ball, I know what he's seeing. You got immediate linebacker run through, and it looks like Zach Frazier doesn't have leverage. But I think if he presses it even further to the left, and I know it's an inside zone, but you're basically looking for a hole here. And I know he's trying to say, you know what? If I go straight, I can run in between McCormick and Broderick Jones, and I can make that work. Well, what he doesn't know is that Broderick is literally getting destroyed here on the play, and he can't see that. So Broderick is literally just getting manhandled way too high. I mean, you can see, like I said, as soon as Jalen Warren gets the ball, look how high Broderick is. Come on, man. It's a run play. Why are you that high? But he's getting whipped. And basically it happens right at the snap. But it is what it is. But Warren doesn't help him. I think he's got to stay front side with this play. But he tries to cut it back, and he cuts it back right into the defense. Like I said, Broderick's getting manhandled. So he runs it back. But if he stays front side, I think he's got some. It may not be maybe 3 yards on it, but I think if he presses it and goes left, because you see Zach is trying to shield off, and Isaac is over there, and Dan's got his man handled. I think if you go that way, it's better. But he goes back, and literally there's nothing there. There's just nothing there. Like I said, this one gets blown up. Broderick gets whipped. Now, Broderick gets zero help from McCormick, but McCormick can't help him. He's got linebacker immediate run through. So he can't, it's supposed to be a double team, and he goes there, but when your linebacker's coming, you got to go. You can't just wait because linebackers are way too fast in the National Football League. If you step there and wait for him to get to you, he's going to get past you. and he's blowing up your play in the backfield. So I get it that it's tough, that Broderick may have anticipated a double team, but you can't let this happen to you. You just can't. But he's 4 yards in the backfield. Come on. It's just not good. Just not good. All right. 3rd and 9 from the Philly 9. Touchdown pass to Muth. Great protection. Great protection here, minus McCormick. Look what McCormick does here. Again, how many times is he going to let Jalen Carter do that to him? And I know what some people are going to say. Well, he knew he had help. No, he didn't. He doesn't know that. It's like he gets whipped and then he just lets him go. For instance, what if that's a slant for Isaac's man and he comes all the way inside? Zach Frazier's got to help here. And Jalen Carter then is running free? Is that what we're saying? Like, you can't let him go. And I get that that side of the line is sliding that way. I understand. But you can't allow this. You just can't. I mean, he barely even touches him. That's not what the Steelers are looking for on that play. I don't care what any of you all say. You can give me pushback all you want. Well, he knew he had help. There is no football play where an offensive lineman knows that he has help and just gets swam and doesn't even touch the guy that's in front of him. Oh, I'm just going to let him go. No. That is not the case. That is not the case. So he's out of position and he's moving right, but that's his guy. I mean, that's his guy. Got to block him. Got to block him. Got to be better there. But everybody else is real good protection. I like how Broderick is strong. I like Dan Moore. Dan Moore gives up a little bit, and then he gets a firm base and just stuffs it. Good for him. Good for him. Good protection. Isaac is literally textbook on how you stop the inside rush. Strong inside hand, keeps his shoulder square, keeps his inside hand real firm, which is exactly what you have to do. Guy tries to come back outside. He's like, nope, I got you. This one's over. And the guy literally just stops. Zach Frazier, again, he gets Jalen Carter, and he's squared up on him. He's like, nah, I got you locked on. So Jalen just tries to tip a pass. So I get it. But good protection. Don't like McCormick's effort there. Don't want to hear that he knew he had help. I'm not going to buy that. But other than that, this is great protection by the offensive line here. And the end result is a touchdown. All right. So now we got 2nd and 10 from the Philly 33. We're in 11 personnel. Sack. This one, I think Russ got to get rid of the football. The first one, a lot of pressure. This one, while there's still a lot of pressure, Russell Wilson's got to get rid of the football. When he gets back to the top of his drop, there's guys that are running open. You see him on the screen right here. You can throw to those guys. You can do that. I'm not saying it's going to be, a 20-yard gain, but there's guys that you can throw the football to, and he doesn't. And he's in a pocket, and he's able to get rid of the football. So on this one, I'm going to give the offensive line some grace and say, Rush can't hold on to the ball this long. However, let's break it down. Let's start with Dan Moore. Don't like this rep from him at all. This is not what we're looking for. Standing straight up and get driven directly into the backfield. And the problem with it is, like I mentioned it a lot with him. No punch. No, not strong enough punch. But when you're standing straight up, you can try to give a punch as tough as you can, but you're standing straight up. You have no leverage. Guy gets lower than him. He long arms him, or wrong arms him, I should say. Either one. And then just bull rushes him right back into Russ. Just bull rushes him right back into Russ. Got to be better than this. So now let's take a look here at our man Isaac. Because they're rushing. Isaac is fighting. May have gotten away with a hold, but every offensive lineman holds. So I love it. He's fighting here. To inside again. Strong inside. He gives up a little ground, but this is good. He's coming hard inside, and he stops that rush, man. He stops that rush. And that's all you can ask for. Now, again, our man McCormick, how many times? I said it the play before. How many times are we going to do this? And I don't want to hear that he knows he has help. I don't want to hear that, people. Block the man. He's rushing at you. The only reason he goes inside is because he can get by you. That can't be the play here as Mason McCormick is looking to help Broderick when you have, if he's not first, he ain't third as far as best defensive tackles in the National Football League. So you're telling me that you're going to let that guy go to go block outside? I'm sorry. No, that's not the protection. You got to be stronger. And you see this time he does try to fight him. You got to be stronger. Nobody else is coming out there, man. And then you know that he's wrong because look what he does. I do like the fight because look at him stand there and just kind of pin Carter in with his backside. Say, nope, you can't come this way. I get it. I get the fight, but again, we'll talk like this forever. Is the techniques just got to get better. Now look at Broderick. Broderick just stops on the play. He gets a great position with his feet and the initial punch. Then he pushes him away, and then he stops. He just stops. Like his pass rusher doesn't stop. It's like he pushes him, and the pass rusher continues to get wide, and Broderick doesn't go with him. I'm like, you have to keep going. You're not going to just, okay, the whole thing about pushing a guy past is not, okay, I'm going to push him to a certain point and he's just going to run around your quarterback. That's not what this is. He's going to run, and if he's going to run around you, you have to stay with him. You can't just let him go. And that's what Broderick does. He just, well, I pushed him far enough. He'll run around. No, he's not. You stopped. And then he dips that outside foot and gives him again, short corner. And when he gives him the short corner, his defender takes it, and Broderick stops going. And you could say, well, Dan Moore getting driven into the backfield doesn't help. It doesn't. You're exactly right. But Broderick's got to keep blocking here. He's just got to keep blocking. When your guy goes around, it doesn't matter. He can run around circles and run around circles. Your job is to stay between him and the quarterback. No matter where he goes, that's the job. And unfortunately, Broderick gets to a certain point and he just said, well, I hope he goes by. No, not good enough. Not good enough. Again, Dan Moore is equally as bad. And you could even say Dan Moore caused the sack because Russell can't go anywhere. But even at that, Broderick was terrible. This wasn't a good rep. Having said all of that, I still think at the top of the drop, Russell can get rid of this football. He's got to throw the football. He's got a pocket. He's got to get rid of it. At the top of his drop, there's guys running open too. It's not that guys aren't open. They're open. Got to throw the football. Okay. Now, the next is 1st and 10, Philly 39. The Steelers actually have some momentum. Now, there was a ton of people in the comments, Philly comments on Instagram, everywhere, where Philly, you all never had any momentum. And I'm like, did you all watch the game? Because if you actually watch the game, with 7 minutes to go, the Steelers are driving. And they got some momentum. They got that flea flicker, and they're starting to move the football, and they were able to run it. So we're 1st and 10, 11 personnel. We got Jaylen Warren in the football game. And I like what we're doing here. Is, again, we got Skoranek, who acts as another tight end out there, and we got Connor Hayward. So even though we're in 11 personnel, this is still a block-heavy unit. But look at the Eagles. Look at their alignment. They got five guys on the line. Again, they're not technically covering up McCormick because they're in a 4-eye, but they got eight guys in the box. So they're saying, and when you got 8 guys in the box, a lot of people think, oh, you can't run it. Yeah, you can. You can still run the football. This is an outside zone. And guys are doing their job here. Zach Frazier, love what he did. I know his guy slips off late, but he stays attached. And in the NFL, you can't just block really good people forever. And Jordan Davis is really good at what he does, which is run stuffing. Zach Frazier does enough, occupies him enough for Warren to get through. I love what he does here. Isaac, same thing. Look, I get it. Isaac's man makes the tackle, but it's 6 yards down the field, people. Are you telling me that you're not going to accept? I block my guy, and yeah, he makes the play, but it's 6 yards down the field. I'll take that all day long. All day long. And look at our man McCormick over here. He's getting out. I know he gets tossed at the end, but you know McCormick, he's just out there like a wild animal, man. Just out there running. He's blocking. But the one thing is, they get Jalen Carter out of there. They get him out of there. Him and Broderick. Broderick comes off, doesn't do anything late. I'd like to see Broderick be a little bit more, but maybe the whistle had already blown. Who knows? But I'd like to see him be more physical. Dan Moore doing his job on the backside. You see how he cuts the guy off? That's literally your job. That's literally your job. When you're on the backside to cut off that three, he occupies. He doesn't get him all the way cut off, but he occupies him enough. That's the job. Occupy your man so he can't make the play. It's a good play call right here. It's a real good play call. I like it. 6 yards. Good physical. Like I said, the Steelers had a little momentum going right here. Regardless of what Eagle fans will tell you, the Steelers had some momentum going on right here. And to further the point, this is literally the next play. 2nd and 4, Philly 33. Now we're in 13 personnel. Look at the Eagles again. The Eagles are saying, nope, you're not running the football inside. I mean, they got 6 guys again on the line of scrimmage. On the line of scrimmage with the middle linebacker. They're just like, nope, we're not going to let you guys run the ball inside. Well, look what the Steelers do. They're like, damn that. We're going to run the ball inside because this is an inside zone. They're going to run the ball inside. We think that our guys can block yours. We got some momentum going here. Now, Najee does a good job of breaking the tackle because the problem here, it's a double team by McCormick and Broderick. But Broderick is too worried about it's like he's wanting to scoop block versus just getting direct movement. This is not a scoop block inside zone. Inside zone, just come off like it's one-on-one and go straight ahead and get movement on the guy. But instead, he steps inside to try to scoop block. Well, he gives up all the leverage. When he gives up all the leverage, when Najee cuts back, because that's where the hole is, his shoulders aren't square, so the guy comes off. Now, Najee does a good job of breaking the tackle, but if Broderick steps correctly and they just go and get movement on this guy, because you look at McCormick thinks it's going to just be a straight double team. I think they could have taken Jordan Davis back 2 or 3 yards right into the lap of Nakobe Dean, and they would have been fine. This play goes for even more yards. But he doesn't. But Najee does a good job. Zach Frazier does a good job. Darnell Washington doesn't enough. You know, you could say, well, he got thrown around. Well, his guy's out of the play. And again, look at Pat Freiermuth, people. We're saying Pat Freiermuth can't block. Look at him come down. Bam. Not the most devastating block, but all you want Pat Freiermuth to do is get in the way. That safety's coming down to make the play. And Pat Freiermuth said, no, you're not. You're not coming down to make this play. And he doesn't. And again, Pruitt's out there blocking. I get it. His guy gets in on the tackle. That's 7 yards down the field, people. This is how I knew the Steelers had momentum, because I saw this watching it. I'm like, oh, man, they got 6 guys on the line. I go, they're just saying don't run it inside. The Steelers said, to hell with that. We're running it inside anyway. We don't care what you do. We don't care. We want to be physical. We think we got something here. And they did, people. They did. Another 7 yards. Now, this is where it all goes downhill. Another toss play. And this is the one that really bothered me, because there were so many people out there. We got to stop the toss. It's terrible. We got to stop it with Najee. And maybe you're right. Maybe Warren needs to be the running back, although I think Najee does just fine. But this is where he fumbles. But if you look at this, again, it's blocked. I mean, you can't blame Arthur Smith for this one. This play is blocked. That gets to the alley. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to take my chances with Najee Harris and Darius Slay in the alley. I'm going to take my chances there. Now, maybe you won't. Maybe you don't like those chances. But me, as a Steeler fan, with Najee and with even with Najee's limitations as far as what he brings to the table, I understand all of that. But I'm taking him and Darius Slay one-on-one. Look at this play. This is blocked. He just drops the ball. We get a little pre-snap motion. Nobody's coming. Now look, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and Blankenship is coming down. They basically got 8 guys within 6 yards of the football. We go right. Look at Broderick. Broderick does his job. You can say, well, he's in the backfield, but he's occupying his man. He's a reach block. This guy's blocked. You know, Darnell gives him a little bit of a hand, but that's blocked, people. I'm sorry. And you see it because before the fumble, Jalen Carter gets frustrated and throws throws Broderick because he knows he's blocked and he can't get outside there. Broderick doing a great job there. A great job. Now you look at Pat Freiermuth and Pruitt. Pruitt's got his guy. Freiermuth again. Now, his safety dives on the football, but if Najee catches it outside, tell me he's not blocked. He's absolutely blocked. And you pause it right there. Look who's outside right at the fumble. It's Najee and Darius Slay. I'm taking my chances with Najee because that safety is blocked. Darnell Washington gets up on a linebacker. He's blocked. Again, people, I know that we don't like the results, but this play is blocked. McCormick gets super lazy here. He helps with the nose, which is great, and then he goes to the linebacker, and then he does nothing. Now, granted, I don't know if his guy's going to be able to get there all the way outside to make the play, but he might. I mean, that's pretty weak by McCormick. Not just pretty weak; it's very weak by McCormick. But Isaac doing his job, Dan Moore doing his job. It's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate, people. Like I said, before you just say we can't run the toss play anymore, understand what's going on. Teams are trying to take away what the Steelers do inside, basically by alignment and personnel. They're just saying we're going to put in big guys and we're going to cover your guard and center, and we're going to put 5 guys on the line and say, I dare you to run it inside. None of these toss plays that I showed you are on Arthur Smith. So just take that into consideration when we're bashing Arthur Smith. Again, I'm the first person to bash him. Tired of running it on first down. Not enough imagination. I understand all of that. But I just wanted to show because I get tired of hearing people just say, oh, get rid of the toss play. We need it. Quite frankly, we need it to be successful. And if blocked properly, the execution, then these plays are working. I mean, the coaches can only put the players in the right position. Now, if they put you in the position and you just, like the one with Broderick with missed assignment, well, what are you supposed to do as a coach? You can only do so much. So this game wasn't near as bad as what everybody thought it was. I thought the Steelers were pretty good, man, for the most part on these plays. Let me just break that down. I thought the Steelers were pretty good on these plays. You know, it was about even. Overall, the offensive line got their head kicked in. They got their head kicked in. So got to get better, get back to the drawing board, and keep pushing. So I appreciate everybody being in here. Thank you guys, as always. Remember, dive in those comments, smash the like button. I appreciate all you all. We will talk to you soon. Love you, and aloha.